Hello, everybody, and welcome from the Dominican Republic. This is the Trade Talks Live, and I am Roger Wakefield. And as you see, I've got Squirt here with me. Squirt, how's it feel to be in Punta Cana?
Nice and warm, actually. I'm actually sweating a little bit. Sorry for anybody that's at home. I hear it is super cold and freezing. So it's been great. Beautiful day. You know, we started our week in Arrival with a nice rainy day all day long, but we've had a couple sunshine days, which has been kind of nice.
And it's been beautiful. The first day was rainy all day. I want to say hello to everybody again on TikTok and Instagram. If y'all have got questions, love for y'all to jump over onto YouTube. We're doing our thing. And if you got questions, love to hear from y'all. And we've already got Alejandro from Miami. So, man, good to have you in here. Clicking on my button. I don't know. There we go. Alejandro, good to have you in here. But Randy, we're here for training for YouTube. And don't get me wrong, it's been great. It's been fun learning things. But education is what it's all about. And we're really big on that. That's part of what we started this channel for, to where we can introduce tradespeople to other people, let them learn new things. And I want to make sure my camera is clean here. Let them learn new things. And man, you help put this together every day. So number one, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you doing what you do. It makes it nice. But are you enjoying this?
I am, man. Like, I've been in the trades all my life. I started, back doing rough ends, top outs, I feel like back as a teenager, and kind of just learning the ropes. And the trades are important to me, always have been. I've had pride in all of my work, and now feeding more into tradespeople so that they can all better themselves because of the knowledge and things that I've gained in the trainings that I've been to. Love passing on the knowledge. That's how I've always been. You know that.
Well, we're going to start off talking about national news and the record demand for skilled trades in utility upgrades. Now, we kind of talked a little bit about that yesterday with infrastructure, stuff like that, but this is actually the utilities themselves. And utility companies across the U.S. are rolling out multi-billion-dollar upgrades to replace outdated electrical grids, water systems, and gas pipelines. Now, you've studied some key projects that are going on and looked at them and stuff like that. So talk a little bit about the key projects, and then let's talk about the impact that this has on tradespeople themselves.
Okay. Man, California, they've signed up for a grid modernization initiative for $7 billion. That's huge. $7 billion goes a long way in electricity and getting a grid up and going. And that puts a lot of workers to work. Midwest states are investing in water infrastructures to combat shortages. Nationwide, there's also some gas line safety retrofits that they're following up with some of the recent explosions across the country.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah. Now, the impact on the trades, though, I mean, think about it, because a lot of this is trades type work. So how's this going to impact the trades, considering right now we've already got 1 million unfilled trades jobs across the United States? What's this going to do to us?
It's just going to add more to that number that we truly need. The main ones, it's going to increase the opportunities for electricians, plumbers, welders. Pretty much every one of these aspects is going to need a little bit of all of it. And that's a good thing. But we as a nation need more people to get into the trades. So start trying to plant those seeds in the younger people's minds that you talk to or are aware of that ask you about what you do. Try to pass on your knowledge and the pride behind your trade and what that feeling actually is. Because a lot of people, it's different for everybody in what you want to do, but the pride that comes from putting in a job, helping others, things like that. You worked a lot in the service area. I've done some service work with you, things like that. And to make that customer happy, to that single mom that had this just major catastrophe this morning, and to be able to fix it to where she can bathe their kids that night is huge.
Yep.
And just that feeling alone can create so much happiness and joy in your life from seeing that in others.
And I love this because you've heard me say for years now, we need more people in the trades. Their supply and demand's a problem. So what's happening here is tradespeople are going to be making a lot more money. Am I right?
I was going to say higher wages because of the high demand. It's only going to go up because if you can't get anybody in there, you're going to have to pay enough to actually get somebody in there to get the job done. And that's what's going to happen if we don't start getting even more and more people in. The rates are going to go up more and more.
Yeah, I started saying probably about a year and a half ago that I think, and back then I was saying 5 years. So what, 2028, somewhere around in there, I'm thinking that plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs, and I mean good ones, are going to be making $100 an hour on their check. And I think that's going to be like a nationwide standard. Places like California and New York will be even making more. But what can people do that are already in the trades to help position themselves for things like this?
Yeah, so one of the first things you can do, a lot of these are going to be big sites, so they are going to have OSHA requirements. You will have to have your 10 or 30-hour OSHA card. I'm not sure which, depends on the site itself. But guys, it's great to have that 30-hour OSHA. Go through that class. I know it's kind of brutal. I've done it twice because I lost my first card. Do not ever lose your card. Mine now lives in my safe, and I pull it when needed. But go ahead and do that. Get that out of the way and build relationships with any of the contractors that are bidding on this work. If you're in those areas of where the structures are going, and it's going to end up being nationwide, completely across the board before long. So just start to talk to the big contractors, the big GCs in your area, big projects like that. The more you can get to know any of those people and network with them, the better off you are because you're top of mind and you're there in their thoughts.
I love that. I want to reach out real quick. Got a comment here from Matt McDonough. Brother, how you doing? Long time no see. Long time follower here. Mr. Miyagi of Plumbing. What's up, brother? Sorry for not dropping in as often. Miss you, buddy. 80 hours a week has not been time freeing. You guys are awesome, and I hope all is well. Matt, thank you very much, brother. I do. I appreciate you jumping in here. So, next we're going to talk about website reviews. And, man, you picked a good one here. You picked Milwaukee Tools. And it's a hub for innovative power tools and professional resources, not just tools. But talk about some of the key features that you love about their site. And, eventually we're going to get this to a thing. And I've got a couple of website people that I'm working with and doing things with. One in particular that I want to bring in and start reviewing websites. So whenever I get back in town and I'm in the studio and we can work on that a little bit more, we're going to do that. But talk about the Milwaukee website and what you like about it.
Yeah, so like one of my favorites, like you get some Milwaukee tools, some different things. I had to get a expansion tool, I believe, or something the other day, and it didn't come with all the parts and pieces. So you've got to get on Milwaukee's site, and they have a very detailed product guide to where you can actually go through and find that right part that you need for your product, for your tool. And that was just so useful for me. Their job site solutions, like their One Key, their tool tracking and management system that's through their site and everything, is pretty amazing. It's cool to know that you can actually keep track of your tools nowadays because we're just moving more and more into the modern world.
Yeah, buddy.
They also have a dedicated section for professional development with training videos and webinars. Like we're talking all the time, educate yourselves. And guys, check out Milwaukee Tools if you haven't yet and see what they got to offer and if it can help you in your trade, because they build tools for everybody.
And I know that from getting to go to Pipeline. And I want to say hello to everybody on TikTok and Instagram. We are live over on the Trade Talks on YouTube. If you've got a question, you'd like to make a comment, I see the thing scrolling, so I know there's some people in here. If you'd like to make a comment or have anything you'd like us to talk about, or you've got a question about anything that we are talking about, love to have you jump over there and just jump in, say, hey, I just jumped over from Instagram or TikTok or wherever. And, let's visit and see what's going on. But Rennie, how can people leverage Milwaukee Tools and the tool sources that they have there?
Man, one of the best things you can do is get up there and actually set up your one key stuff to actually track the tools. You can set inventory alerts for if you're keeping track of things like that in their software and system, and you can customize tool performance, saving time and reducing theft risk. Being able to track tools is huge, guys. Like, used to, if a tool walked off of a job, companies are just like, man, it's a loss.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of things to try to help prevent theft. But now, if you can actually track that tool and its location and know where it's at, that's going to be huge in the market.
And that is huge. It literally, that this helps the employers, it helps the contractor keep track of everything that they got. And Milwaukee Tools, it's really funny because Milwaukee Tools is one of the things that before we started doing this show, we asked our audience, what would you like to hear from? Who would you like to learn from? And what products would you like to learn more about? And Milwaukee Tools is one of the ones that got named. So we thought that was really, really cool. And, things like that. Look, this show's about y'all. It's not about me and Randy. It is about what can we do to bring y'all information. We're talking to plumbing supply houses. We're talking to national organizations. We're talking to unions. We're talking to multimedia companies that are nationwide that, they've got great information. They've got people that understand the national news because they're in Washington, D.C. They're lobbyists. They're doing different things. So, man, anything that we can do to help y'all, that's what this is about. And at this point, we're going to talk about business growth and how to increase profit margins on small jobs. Now, I've talked a lot about this money is all the little small projects. So smaller service calls can sometimes feel like they're not worth the effort, but optimizing them can significantly boost your bottom line. And Randy, I'll let you talk a little bit about some points that you picked out there.
Yeah, one of them is with small projects, flat rate pricing is pretty good for both sides and both parties. But you want to ensure that small jobs are profitable by using flat rates that account for travel time and materials. You don't want to forget about that travel time because sometimes that's the hardest part on a small job is the commute from back and forth from wherever you're normally located. That's a huge one to kind of overcome. So don't forget that part in your flat rate pricing. Take advantage of upselling opportunities. We talk a lot about whenever you go in to fix a toilet. Well, while I'm here, yep, that's just a quick small job. Well, it's all in my flat rate. I'm going to be here. I'm going to go ahead and inspect the house real quick. See if I can let you know of anything that could be an issue sooner or whatever. And then one of the best things to do is streamline your scheduling. There's so many different softwares out now. No travel time.
Sorry, I just looked back. I was trying to see if somebody was messing with the Skylink. So we're in Punta Cana, so we're broadcasting live from a Skylink, and we've got it set up outside, and there was somebody out by it. I don't think they're messing with it, though. But I want to talk about the upselling opportunities. And I want to tell a quick story because this is the way upselling was put to me, and I think it's such a big deal. A doctor was walking down a hallway in a hospital late at night doing his rounds, and he sees one of his customers' names on the door, and he walks in the room. And when he walks in the room, he sees his customer or his client, and his client's laying there in bed, and he's got his arm up in a cast, and he's got a heart rate machine up to him, all these electronic gadgets going on. And he looks at the client or the patient. He says, "Oh my God!" He said, "Man, what are you doing in here?" He says, well, doc, after I left your office the other day, I had a heart attack and I died in the ambulance twice and they revived me. But by the time I got to the hospital, they got me in here and they're like, they didn't think I was going to live. And the doctor says, I know. He says, when you were in my office, your blood pressure was so high, we didn't know if you'd survive being there. And he said, well, wait a minute. He says, what do you mean? He says, well, your blood pressure was so high, we thought you might die. He says, well, why didn't you tell me? And he says, well, you were just there to get a cast on your arm. So, a 360 plumbing home inspection is the same way. Whether you're a plumber, an electrician, or an HVAC tech, when you're in somebody's house, you need to look at everything. You're not there just trying to sell them, but you're there to make them aware of it. And I did that whenever I was looking at a big remodel job. A customer says, hey, look, I'm wanting to tear out this closet or tear out the laundry room, move the laundry room out into the garage because they wanted to expand their bedroom closet into the laundry room and make it bigger. So what we did is we looked at that, but I got to tell you, I would focus on that before I did this. And she said, no. She said, I want the closet. Do it first. I'll budget the water heaters later. So I said, look, I'll get you pricing back by Monday. This was a Thursday or Friday. Monday, when I sent her the deal, she called me and she said, I should have listened to you. One of those water heaters ruptured, flooded. She was out of town for the weekend. Her entire 2-story living room ceiling, the big vaulted ceiling in her living room, was now down in her floor. The water ran over in the kitchen. That was down on the floor. And she said, I really wish I would have listened. So that's why stuff like this is so important. Matt says, I love how they're making tools just for jobs to make it easier instead of having to make my own. That part is huge. Will says, Roger's a man of the people for sure. I love that. Will's here from Instagram. Will's one of the people I was talking about that I'm working with, website guys that we're bringing in here to do some cool stuff. Such a great example. Love the doctor story. Man, if you're not taking care of your people, you need to be. And I want to say a quick shout out to Denver Charboy. Brother, how are you doing? Great seeing you as always. So, service world. And here's the deal, because service work is big. You look at how many big commercial plumbing companies, and I say plumbing, but guys, it's plumbing, electrical, HVAC, how many big companies there are in each city. But there's probably 100 service companies for that one big commercial contractor. So there's a lot of commercial plumbers out there, a lot of commercial service people. But many states are updating the plumbing codes to include water conservation requirements. Now, we talked about this yesterday with California, but really, Randy, a lot of other states are getting it into it also. And you're froze up.
About the low flow toilets.
Yeah. So let's go into a little depth on those.
Like the ones here are so big. Yeah, so we're here in the Dominican Republic, and if you walk into the bathroom here, you will instantly notice it is a huge tank on the toilet. We don't have that at home anymore. Well, okay, I may still have one in Squirt's hole, but that's it. And that's just the super old toilet that we don't even use. We'll be getting that one swapped out before long, I guarantee it. But low flow is huge. Like, some people that live really close to the water can't believe that water is an issue for anybody. But a lot of parts of our country, water truly is a big issue. And just making that small switch to a low flow toilet, every time you flush, you're saving the world water. You're saving on your water bill, which we know water doesn't cost a lot, but guys, put a little bit of care into that. It's huge. So something else that go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say another thing that they're going to be doing is they're going to add some incentives for the gray water reuse systems.
I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot of new projects and things, or products and things that are coming out to try to do that and make that a more feasible thing for a lot of homeowners and things like that.
All right, TikTok, Instagram, I want to say hello to y'all real quick. Love for y'all, if you've got questions or comments, to jump over onto YouTube. We are live on the Trade Talks, so you can find the Trade Talks channel. Jump in, say hello. We've already had a couple of people jump over. Love to hear any questions, comments, anything at all that y'all have got. I can't really see your comments or questions, so I can't really answer them. But I would love to have y'all jump over onto the Trade Talks if you can. And, talking about staying ahead of codes, Randy, if plumbers want to stay ahead of stuff like that, what they really need to do is start looking at local code update workshops or webinars and keep in touch with the inspectors. Inspectors are great. If you've got a relationship with your inspector, reach out to them because you can literally call them and talk to them and say, hey, look, what are the new codes that y'all are really going to be pushing? What do I need to do different today that I couldn't do 2 weeks ago? And when you talk to them about things like that, they're normally good about talking about what the chief plumbing inspector is pushing them to do. So the inspector that comes out and sees your job, he's not necessarily the one that's studying this and looking at it. He probably understands what's going on, but that plumbing inspector is not the one that's saying, hey, look, I'm going to become really hard-nosed about this and start fighting this and giving people red tags for it. So it'd be a really good idea to talk to that inspector and say, hey, what are y'all really looking for now? Now that the codes have changed, what's your big deals? This way you understand the national and regional enforcement trends. National, we understand that there's a lot of it every year. The regional, what they so choose to implement, that goes back to what code they're being built by and the addendums to them. So make sure that you're looking at stuff like that and make sure you're doing everything you can to understand it and try to get ahead of it. Anything else there, Squirt?
There is going to they're going to add some stricter testing for backflow prevention devices. And that's kind of huge. Like I know that there's a requirement for it to get inspected every year, but I don't think that they keep up with it as well as they should be. And I think that that's what they're meaning is they're actually going to get strict on it, which is going to be great. That's what protects the water system from everybody else from one bad install or something or a mishap, a malfunction. Keeps that water from coming in and contaminating everybody else. So, I mean, I think that's a huge one that's coming.
About the only places that I see that test backflow the way they should are a lot of big commercial or industrial type places that they know they've got hazardous chemicals that these water lines are tied to. And without the correct backflow prevention device and testing it annually to make sure it's working like it should, that is such a big deal. And just a lot of people don't do it. So talking about that, materials, equipment, and tools, because I've got the tools for backflow prevention. It's been a long time since I've used them, but to stay ahead in the trades means keeping up with the latest tools and equipment. A lot of people don't do that at all. And you hear me talk every day about if you want to be in the top 5% of your industry, get up every morning, study your niche, study your trade, study your specialty for 30 minutes to an hour. And if you'll do this in 1 year, you're going to understand more. That's kind of what we're doing this for. We can bring you information. We're going through and curating a lot of this stuff and able to put it out here for you where you can see it, you can understand. You want to become better in your industry, watch this show for an hour every day. You're going to learn about new things all across the board. And not just the smart PP, but now cordless technology. I remember going to Pipeline Milwaukee, and one of the coolest things that they talk about is their battery and how they keep making their battery more powerful where it'll last longer, but it's smaller and it's lighter. So when they're talking about things like that, that's from listening to tradespeople. It's from listening to us every day and understand, hey, look, these guys need this. And we talked about this, I think, last week. But Randy, one of my favorite things about the Milwaukee tools is their batteries are never going to change. The tool they're making now is going to fit a battery built 20 years from now. And the battery that they're making now will fit that same tool. Now, hopefully by then you've upgraded and you've got the better, stronger, bigger, or not bigger, better, stronger, faster batteries that are smaller and lighter. So stuff like that is huge. But 3D printing, let's talk about that, because you spent a lot of time in a commercial plumbing company's office, so you know more about the computers and stuff like that. How's 3D printing going to really be able to help tradespeople out in the field?
Well, so like where I think I see 3D printing in the future is you're going to have a trailer that you pull on a job that's loaded up with some materials, and guess what? You are going to print your fittings right there in the trailer. You need 1090s, okay, go in there and start 10 machines cranking you out 90s real quick.
Wow.
I think that they're working at getting it faster and better. But rapid production of custom part or fitting on job sites, it's huge, guys. Imagine, oh, I need this super special fitting. Oh, well, guess what? Download that program real quick and print it. There you go. You've got that super special fitting. So it's the things that aren't always just on the shelf or things that are disappearing off of the shelf. You can print it yourself. And then, that opens up business opportunities for others too.
So tell me this, what are the latest innovations for cordless tools? We've talked about the One Key by Milwaukee, and I love that. I think that's phenomenal, the way you can track it. Tell me what's the latest technology on cordless tools?
So kind of like Milwaukee's, One Key system. With those integrations, it provides both convenience and performance gains. You can actually monitor, your tool use, see things like that, and get those types of reads with smart technologies and devices. And you can figure out if, I think I would be able to use some of that data to actually think, okay, am I using the right blade to make this cut? Am I using the right drill bits for this material? Things like that. You should be able to take that data and figure those things out to do our jobs better. That's going to be huge. And then that's going to make that essential for the new years. Lean into all this new technology, because the reason they're creating it is it's making us better at what we do.
It makes us better. It makes us faster. It helps us be a lot more efficient. And a good thing too is that this technology, the better, stronger, faster we get, the more money we can make. And that's what this is all about. You look at Milwaukee, and I remember interviewing, I think it was a vice president of Milwaukee at one of the conferences, and I asked him about their cordless tools. He said, Roger, he said, to be honest, our battery powered tools are more powerful than the corded tools now. So you can get more power out of a 18-volt battery than you can from a corded tool. So to me, that's an advance in technology that's just been phenomenal. And talking about an advance in technology, we're modifying Leak Pro all the time. Talk a little bit about it. And Leak Pro, of course, is our sponsor, but why do we modify it? Why do we worry about upgrading it?
Man, something that, like, we take pride in what we do and what we build to. We want to put the right tools in your hands. Any complaints that we've gotten about different things or heard about over the years, on our new latest and greatest, we try to upgrade as many of those things as possible. Like, I've got new circuitry boards in process now. We're always trying to make things better. I've got a couple prototypes for some other type of leak detectors, because I'm always wanting to put more things out there to make it easier for different types of things. And the main reason that we do Leak Pro is it's easy to use. There is a process to find leaks. Once you learn that process and you work that process, you can find your leaks and keep your work in-house. And that's huge for everybody. And that's our big goal. I would love to have Leak Pro in everybody that wants to do leak detection's hands. Because we don't want you to lose jobs to others, but at the same time, it can open up a whole new revenue line to where you can actually go locate for others too. But be nice. Don't take jobs from them. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I love the way you put that, because that's one of the things that I was taught in the beginning is either find a good leak detection company, which when you find them and talk to them, you understand that they're doing the same thing. They're pulling any job that they can. And it's not like they just go in and try to steal it, but they come in and say, hey, look, if you don't like the price, give us a shout because we do these repairs too. And I'm just saying, I don't necessarily agree with that. But MEP, how can we work together? How do we improve collaboration across the trades?
Man, as projects become more complex with MEP trades, have to work closely to avoid delays and conflicts. You know, we used to have a lot of collisions and things because it was just like, oh, this is the elevation that you run at, and that's it. That's what you get. Well, sometimes the buildings aren't all the same, and you're going to have to make offsets and transitions. And we've moved that more into AutoCAD to where we can actually run through programming and figure out where everybody truly has to be to fit into a building. But some of the challenges that are created by everything is scheduling overlaps. You know, that's a tough one when you've got 3 different trades in the same room trying to do something. You've got to pay attention more there. Communication breakdowns during project execution.
Wait, are we really supposed to communicate with other trades?
That, like, one of the things I feel like almost every company I work at, one of the biggest problems is communication. Guys, we have to talk to each other. That's one thing a lot of people like. They're like, man, you're a guy that likes to come and grab a hold of me and talk to me and figure out the problem. I'm like, yes, I know that we have to communicate because I want us on the same page so that at least if this is what I'm going after, you already know, so you're not going to try to get in my way to slow me down because you know that where we're headed. And just to communicate that with anybody it's great. And then, like I was saying, some of the solutions, like we use the BIM, the AutoCAD modeling to identify potential conflicts early. Like, that saves hours. Like, I can remember working in the company, and I used to have a CAD buddy of mine, and he's like, man, yeah, I just rerouted 1,000 feet of pipe, and it took me about 5 minutes, and it fixed 10 problems. And it's like, dude, he's like, yeah, it's kind of nice when you can do it like that and you don't actually have to pull the pipe out of the sky. And it's like, man, that is huge.
I remember them getting mad at me on Medical City. We had an issue, and it took me 2 complete days to take out what we had put in and reroute it and put it in. And when I went to the office and complained about it, they said, you know, Roger, you think this is supposed to come out to you perfect? It's not. And it's like, yeah, but when y'all go through and do all this and y'all aren't finding these conflicts, I said, Roger, if we fixed every conflict we found, we'd never get the job drawn. And it's like, yeah, but we got to get better at this.
That's it. A little extra time on the drawing end helps a lot, helps save a lot of time on the install end, which is where it truly matters. But another important thing is you've got to schedule cross-trade communication meetings so that everybody knows who's on what page and where, because scheduling's huge. You don't want 3 trades in the same room on the same day if you don't have to have it that way. Now, sometimes the room's big enough, and I get that, and that's great. But like, I used to do a lot of mechanical rooms, so I had to kind of work with other trades in there at the same time. But my stuff was kind of the biggest and started at the top. So I kind of got free range for the most part and could let them know when they could come in and do different things. So having control and being able to communicate all that with everybody, the bosses and the workers themselves, is really huge. And build that bond with the guys that are working in your areas, because it's important to, as a plumber, to be able to talk to the electrician about work or who's going to get in the bathroom first or whatever it is.
So Randy, let's talk about this. Let's talk about where the work is, because we're in Dallas, or that's where we live. So we know what all's going on there. But at the end of the day, look, everybody who watches us isn't from Dallas. And there's sometimes in Dallas, you've had a travel card before. So you've traveled around and worked in other cities, other areas. Where's the work going right now? Or how can people find where the work's going when they want to?
Well, I mean, you can kind of search the areas. There's different growths everywhere. Like right now in Phoenix, Arizona, there's a rapid housing development due to the population growth. They've been opening up a whole lot of centers and things there, distributions, all sorts of stuff. That needs more workers. They got to bring in more workers. That needs more housing. They got to have somewhere to live. So, guys, it's huge there. Nashville, Tennessee. Huge.
Nash
Major
Vegas.
commercial.
Nash Vegas, baby.
Nash Vegas. That's
You
it.
ain't been there lately, guys. It looks like it. Every redneck country artist, which I'm a redneck, I resemble that remark, so don't worry about it. Every country artist, and you even said Jelly Roll just opened
Jelly
his,
Roll.
his
He is. I saw a TikTok the other day of him hanging the sign on his bar down there, and it's like, man, you're making it, bud. Good deal. But they've got a lot of major commercial projects going, including hospitals and office spaces. You know, so it's just that area is growing there. And then, you know, the old tried and true Austin, Texas.
to YouTube where we're froze up. So, sorry, go ahead. We're back now.
You're good. Yeah. So with all that, you know, electricians and HVAC means it's going to need a lot of power and a lot of cooling, guys. So that tells me like data centers, things like that are coming in that area.
And data centers are big for the welders. They're big for pipe fitters. You know, every data center that I've done has either been weld pipe or CPVC. But, you know, welding, getting all this pipe in under the floor, look, you got to keep these buildings cool. And, man, pipe fitters are the ones that help make it work.
Hey, I loved building data centers. And they typically want them fast. So most of those jobs, you can work most of the overtime that you want to.
Okay. So tell me this. How can tradespeople tap into this? How can it help? How can it help your average local company or something like that?
And if you're a small company or something, talk to the larger companies and see if you can subcontract some of the work. Now, I know that like union and non-union will kind of gray that area some depending on where you're at.
Whoa. Wait a minute. You say that, but remember, Randy, I worked out at the airport for about 5 years. Half the time out there, we subcontracted work from TD Mechanical. And I'd have a lot of union people that come out and they'd be like, look, I don't want to work for these, you know, rat company. Yep. I said, then don't. But I got 5 years worth of work coming up. And if you don't want to work here, get out, but don't ever come back because I got a project to do and I'm going to get it done. And I'm going to get it done with union people. And they'd be like, well, Roger, it just didn't right. It's like, wait a minute. You're saying it's not right, but we bid the work just like they did. They won the contract. And then they can make enough money off of it by subbing it out to us that they can still make money. And you think we didn't way overbid that? Excuse me, guys, but if you want to work here, you got to understand you're going to work for a non-union contractor. You're going to sub the work from them, and we're going to do it right. And finally, people got on board, but you know, not everybody believes in that.
That's it. And like, I wish more people would. You know, like I came union, I was a pipe fitter union. I've seen some open shops mess up pipe fitting things using wrong materials that aren't intended to be used. And they ended up paying our company to go in and replace things like that. You know, and it wasn't everything. It was just a couple little things like steam. Steam's huge. But they had somebody that wasn't as knowledgeable on steam as they should have been running that work. And, you know, things like that happen. But the thing is if they were communicating a little better with everybody else, they probably could have found that out pretty quick if they had asked the right questions.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about instructor training because, look, I used to be an instructor in a union. And, you know, me and you both have our UA Star certification. I've got plumbing and pipe fitting. Did you do plumbing too? Did you get both of them too?
I just got the pipe fitting.
So I've got my UA Star certification in plumbing and pipe fitting. And I know at one point you were studying for the plumbing. You had thought about doing it. But how's technology changing the way we do training?
Man, so like it's huge. You can do VR training. I think at one time you got some VR and we're doing some VR plumbing. Like that's becoming a normal thing. They can create this program that you walk into this house and figure out what the issue is in whatever your trade is. Or even if it's a blank slate, let's say, an open sandbox space that you've got to build because you're a framer. Okay, well, here, what kind of house? You go here's your list, order your materials, boom, it'll show up, start putting it together, show us the layout. Different things. VR is going to be huge. And then AI is coming in to every aspect of this world, I believe. But use it as a tool because that's what it really is. But there's lots of AI based learning platforms that adapt to the individual student needs. Like as humans, we can read people, but as AI, it can be programmed to where it reads a whole lot of different AI is based off of.
Now you talk about VR, which is virtual reality, but then there's AR, augmented reality, which is really using AI to help tie that together.
Yes. That way you can actually kind of see the real world and the overlays.
It's crazy, but it's neat that all this is coming in through training and technology. And I think that this helps instructors teach people better. I have people all the time reach out to me and say, look, I started watching your videos and you helped me pass my plumbing exam. So that part of training, I keep saying that I think that we could shorten the amount of hours that it takes to become a plumber in Texas. And I really do, because students these days have access to videos and training and education that we didn't have. And when I was around, we had to go to this thing called a library, and it's a brick building that had a shit ton of books in it. And you had to go down there and find the right book, and then you had to check it out, and then you had to read it in like 2 weeks because you had to have it back, or you had to pay late fees, or you had to buy the book or stuff like that. But the training that people have these days, you can buy online courses and learn to do anything in the world. So I think that this is huge, but how can instructors use this more in their training?
Man, use some of affordable VR tools and online learning platforms. There's like Skill Mill, complement traditional teaching methods. There's so much out there, and just studying it and hunting for different softwares and programs based on your trade and your world. Things like that, and that's learning different things. Water flows, things like that. You can do a lot of VR things through that. Valve oriented, like all sorts of things that you can actually use virtual reality for. And it's expanding even more and more than we can even imagine also.
And that's cool. I want to jump into some comments here real quick. Denver says Canada might become the 51st state. Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool. Goodbye, Justin Trudeau. Welcome. Good to have you back here. Says, what are some plumbing innovations that have yet to hit the market, but you're most excited about? I think that they're coming up with, well, like us, we're improving our leak detection equipment for a reason. And I think it's going to be amazing. Matt says, I love the inspectors in Vegas. Most of them want to teach you the right way. They love when you go above and beyond, and that is great. Michael says, just got fired from a hack artist company due to lack of experience. Where can I get started in reputable general contracting? I would reach out to, number one, find one of the biggest, most reputable general contractors in town and do research, look at reviews, see how people talk about them, and see if that's a company that you want to work for. And Alejandro says, when you work as a plumber, is it better to earn by commission or by the hour? In the beginning, it's probably better by the hour, but when you get really good at it, commission is not a bad thing. It's just, you make a percentage, and the more productive, the better you are, the better equipped you are, the smarter you are, the faster you are. There's a lot of different things that tell you, look, you can make a lot more money at that. And Matt says, communication is so hard with some people. The work can go so much easier if we communicate, and that's definitely true. Nathan says, I'm a 21-year-old plumber trained by my father, and I'm in upstate New York, have a decent clientele. want to leave New York, but I don't want to leave and go somewhere where I have no clients. I don't think you can get them all to move with you, Nathan. So you're either going to have to find a way to keep that and stay there and do something different, or understand that you're probably going to have to move somewhere else, go to work for someone until you can grow that business and do good things there. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the green building codes, because look, I'm a lead AP, which is leadership in energy and environmental design. And to me, it's a big deal because this helps the trades. So the new green building codes are influencing how trades approach the projects. Now, I became a lead AP just because of projects that I was working on. I was quality control manager. And when you're a quality control manager over a lead project, you're the one who's got to make sure all the documentation's good, current, stamped, right, and it is all what it's supposed to be. You can't bring in like high VOC product onto a job that's a lead project. But for energy efficient HVAC installations, they're studying airflow more. They're studying power and usage, and believe it or not, even the way that the building is facing, what type of glazing or glass is on it, what type of roof is on it. Is there any renewable energy integration? Solar panels. We've talked about geothermal, wind turbines. There's so many different things out there that it's like, guys, look, if we'll look at this, if you're a plumber, you need to be focusing on water filtration and slab leak detection. Make it a specialty that you can grow in, because these impact the trades. If you're an electrician, look at solar and whole house GFCIs. If you're an HVAC technician, look at indoor air quality, look at geothermal, look at things that nobody else is doing, because eco-friendly materials and equipment and stuff like that is going to make all the difference in the world. And the green building codes are going to continue to get greener. They're going to get more strict. They're going to be trying to control. Well, matter of fact, we just changed the law on water heaters this year. So you've got to know what's going on with stuff like that. And the sooner you do it, the more you jump in, the better you get at it, the more money you're going to be able to make in the long run, because it's going to be a game changer for each and every one of us.
So what do you think the biggest challenge with the green building codes would be?
Now, I think the biggest challenge is it's not something we're used to studying. Remember, I've talked to you about me becoming a lead AP. And when I first opened that book, which is about 2.5 inches thick, I thought I was reading Russian. It scared the mess out of me. And I think that's a challenge, because lead AP, leadership in energy environmental design, when you're talking to a roofer and you've got to tell him, hey, or you're talking to a plumber and you've got to tell him, you've got to learn about the reflectiveness of a roof. You've got to tell him he's got to learn about the way that the building is oriented due to the path of the sun. This is not stuff we're used to studying. So to me, it's literally like, okay, wait a minute. Is this something I really want to do? But I did. And I tell people all the time that the reason I got into green plumbing is I walked into a continuing education early one day, and the instructor up front talking to another plumber, and I sat towards the back then. And he literally and I don't know how much we lost, and I don't know if you're still frozen up there.
I'm back.
But to me, it's being afraid of the unknown. But it's like leak detection equipment. If you don't know how to use it, you're afraid of it. It's like, what if I tell them the leak's right here and it's not? And that's something to be afraid of. So you don't just buy the equipment, you learn how to use it. I studied lead AP. I studied how to become a green building specialist so I would know more about it. and it really has. It's just, to me, it's been great for me. I've thoroughly enjoyed the heck out of it, to be honest. So, Randy, let's talk about social media. Let's talk about roofing today.
Yeah. So Roofing Insights, they recently released a video, top roofing materials for 2025. What's worth the investment? It's super relevant on that video. It discusses the new lightweight, weather-resistant materials gaining traction in the market. One thing I do know about roofing, I don't know a whole lot, but I know the materials weigh a lot. That's the one thing that I mainly hear about roofing is you carry a bunch of heavy stuff up a ladder. Guys, if we can make that material lighter weight, that is going to save so many backs. Okay. I mean, come on. We all know we get some bad backs from carrying all that extra weight. So that's going to be huge. One of the main talking points is what's the best way for roofers to showcase their expertise.
Guys, number one, thank y'all for bearing with us. I know that, hey, we've got a Skylink right outside my door here. We are trying to live stream the best that we can. So I really do appreciate y'all hanging around and being here. Over on Instagram, TikTok, if y'all want to, if you have questions, you can jump over onto YouTube, onto the Trade Talk channel. We are trying to do everything that we can. Yeah, I see the comment there by Amber. It says, looking good. It says, love the palm trees as they are bracing for snow. I don't think it's snowing yet, but I know that it's headed there either tonight or in the morning, if I'm not mistaken. So, Randy, how can roofers showcase their experience through social media?
Man, like one of the coolest things I always see is the before and after photos, or time lapse your video project. Set up a camera that takes a picture every so many seconds, and then run that slow-mo through or speed it up however you want, and show that install from start to finish. You can also highlight all of your craftsmanship areas, the extra care that you put into your roofs that most other people don't. Showcase that specific thing. Try to pass that knowledge on to others. If there's some tricks that you've learned, pass those on to others. Help them save time in their lives and their jobs.
I'm not sure why we're having problems. I'm looking at my Starlink, and it says everything's lined up. So, guys, I really don't know what the problem is, but I promise you we are trying. It's again, I look at it, it says it's aligned.
Yep.
So, best questions of the day. What's the fastest way to transition into renewable energy work, Randy?
I'd say to try to find anywhere local that you want to do it, or start to study the renewable energies that you're wanting to actually get into. Get any certifications that you can. I know that there's some solar certifications, things like that. Get certified. Take any training classes that you possibly can and get that under your belt, and that's going to help you actually start to make that move.
And what I like about that too is, if I wanted to get into solar right now and I'm a roofer, I would probably call Tesla and say, hey, let's talk about your solar panels. Or any other company that sells solar, reach out to the manufacturer and say, hey, we want to become an installer. We want to become a salesperson. If you're in plumbing, water filtration, reach out to Halo Water Systems and say, hey, Glenn, look, how do we get certified? How do I teach my guys? How do we do all this and all this in order to become the company in San Francisco, California that sells more water filtration systems than any? I would literally reach out to manufacturers to see Will you bring somebody in to train us and teach us how to be the very best? What else, Squirt?
What's the best cordless tool brand for heavy duty work that you've seen in your trade shows you've attended in tools?
Yeah, you've got to look at the big guys. I think Milwaukee, I love what they do with tradespeople. I think that's why I'm impressed by Milwaukee. When I went to Pipeline, it's not just plumbing. That's all we see. But they've got plumbing tools. They've got electrical tools. They've got mechanic tools. They've got lawn and garden tools. They've got general contractor tools. They've got so many HVAC sections. But they've got all this, and they've got it all laid out, and they've got it situated where, look, this is your opportunity as a plumber to come in and get to see all the plumbing tools and touch them and play with them and stuff like that. But then you go outside and they've got concrete tools. And it's like, look, this is heavy duty equipment here running off batteries, and they're doing really, really good with it. So the whole thing about it is how does it get any better? And I think it's doing great.
So I got one just side note. What tool?
Okay, you broke completely up. Try that one again.
Yep.
Today, actually, we're having technical issues again. Go ahead, Squirt.
What tools offer the best ROI for small contractors?
I think that when you look at a company like Milwaukee, and I hate saying it all the time because I think Rigid does very well too, but Milwaukee, I think where they do the best for small contractors is the batteries fit every tool. With other brands, you can get different tools, and you may need a different battery for this and a different battery for that. But literally, it's what can you do to spend less money? You get more for your value. I mean, look at us. We just bought tool bags right for us before Christmas, or right before the end of the year. About 6 or 8 tools. They all run off the same batteries.
This is huge for me.
Yeah, we know that this has been good for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, Squirt, talk about Leak Pro so we can get out of here. I'm going to go hang out by the pool again today.
I'm Henry Wakefield with Leak Pro. We make the most precise leak detection equipment on the market for professional plumbers, maintenance guys, irrigation and lawn. We're here for you. We want to help you find your leaks. If you want to find us, you can check us out at leak-pro.com, or you can give us a call at 8888 Leak Pro. And
here's the thing about it too, guys. We don't just think it's the best. We fell in love with it. We acquired the company. We updated it. We updated the cases. We built a training center in Wiley, Texas, that literally it helps us train anybody from around the country. We have people that fly in and they'll spend a couple of days in Dallas. They learn to check the water lines. They learn to find out what's leaking. They learn to find out where the water lines are under the slab. And then we really throw a pickle in the barrel there. We take them down to the sewer system that we designed, where we can teach them how to isolate leaks under a house. And when you do things like that, you're teaching people a whole new way to make money. And to me, that's just one of the greatest things there is. So I want to say thank y'all very much. I want to say thanks to Leak Pro for sponsoring it. We love what we get to do. If you're interested, go to www.leak-pro.com. Check out the equipment, check out the training, schedule a call with Randy, and he can get you all hooked up. Randy, any closing words there?
Man, it's been a great day, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Glad to help you on your journey all the way through it.
All right, guys. Thank y'all very much. Have fun. Goodbye from Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. Y'all have a great day, and we will see you again tomorrow. Thanks, guys, and hook 'em.
Have a great day, everybody.